Thank you, Annie. Thank you. So it is 10:33, and we may have some latecomers in the room and on Zoom, but I think maybe we'll get started. And if anybody wants to move a little closer, we are so small today. Be nice to be together, be comfortable. And we could even name, let's each name ourselves in the room. Betsy, Bill, Pam, Peter, Annie, Robin, Russ, David, and Mark. Thank you. And on Zoom, Frank, and on Zoom. Good. Welcome. Welcome all. And we will welcome people as they arrive. They got the time wrong. So it doesn't really matter how many we are. We each came here for a reason, and it might be to find comfort, inspiration, connection, whatever you came for. I hope you receive it. Amen. And we will also give to each other. Do some little practices today. So it's always a time to connect, whatever else happens internally. So let's just take this first moment and arrive in the silence, this sacred space, whether you're at home or here at All Souls. And just take a moment to breathe. Let yourself settle in. As Annie reminded us, we have all souls of all the years with us in this space. We have our ancestors with us, our beloveds with us, and we have each other. So let this be a reflective, peaceful hour together. Thanks for being here. And Annie has been playing already, but she's going to sing a song called Mercy. And the topic of today is justice and restoring justice and creating justice. And part of this whole picture is forgiving and having mercy for people after harm. There's always harm, there's always healing. And the Song of Mercy, I think, is just good to tap into our deep heart space of what that could possibly mean and who needs it. We all need it. So as you're ready, Annie.
All right. So I have a little prelude to that. Betsy asked me if I would learn the song, but I've been so busy with so many things that I didn't have a chance to get to it until last night. And I listened to it and I thought, oh, I have to sing the song at church today. So it isn't perfect. You'll get the heart of it.
And as always, you're welcome to hum along, sing along, even if you get just a little bit of the refrain. Gets it a little deeper in here.
My father could use a little mercy now. The fruits of his labor fall, and now are rotting on the ground. His work is almost over. It won't be long. You won't be around. I love my father. He could use. My brother, he could use a little mercy now. He's a stranger to freedom. He's shackled to his fears and his doubts. pain that he lives in is almost more than living will allow. I love my brother, he could use a little mercy now. My church and country could use a little mercy now. As they sink into a poison pit, it's gonna take forever to climb out. They carry the weight of the faithful who follow them down. Well, I love my church and country, they could use some mercy now. Well, every little thing could use a little mercy now. Only the hand of grace can end the race toward another mush cloud. Well, people in power, they'll do anything to keep that crown. I love life, and life itself could use some mercy now.
Thank you.
Yeah, we all could use a little mercy now. I know we don't deserve it, but we need it anyhow. We hang in the balance, dangle between hell and hallowed ground. And every single one of us could
Use some mercy now.
Every single one of us.
Every single one of us could use some mercy now. Thank you.
I said every single one of us
Could use some mercy now. Thank you. Thank you all for partaking, feeling the spirit of that. Big piece of restorative justice, mercy. Let's move to read our covenant, shortened version of your beautiful covenant, which is in your order of worship. We'll read it together. Ready? Nice and slow. We covenant with one another that we build our connection on a foundation of love, hope, and faith to promote justice and peace and to show reverence for the divine within and all around us. Thank you. And now Peter is going to light our chalice, and we can read the chalice lighting together. People on Zoom, you don't have it, but we'll read it nice and slow so you can hear it and receive it. We light this chalice as a symbol of the spirit of life that fills us all. We are capable of harming and being harmed. We are capable of healing ourselves and each other. There is enough light and love for all of us. Thank you, Peter. Okay. So,
Do that song by Holly now.
in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you. We have many songs to honor you with today. But right now, I'd like to muse a little with you on the idea of harm and healing. And as always, I invite you to use your imaginations. I have some examples from my life about harm and healing, and we all do. We've all witnessed harm and healing, and we've all been part of both ends of the equation. So harm and healing are happening all the time. We contribute to both, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, sometimes very subtly, sometimes very explicitly. Harm happens on a very small level or subtle level when we judge each other, when we overlook each other, when we misunderstand each other, when we deny each other. Just a look can do a lot to include or exclude somebody. Our tone of voice, harsh words, insults, or not being invited to the table. Small table, kitchen table, large table. Representative of our representing each other in our government. And then there's large scale, obviously, harm that arises out of racism, greed, violence, all the big things, discrimination, incarceration, all the uneven freedoms we have in this country, this culture, and really the world. There's so many imbalances that our hearts feel broken. And what is a broken heart to do? Not close, but hopefully stay open so that we can have the courage, the connection with each other to still face all the injustice and find some ways to remedy, to deal with it. Okay, we can all be part of this. Facing horror, naming it, not walking away from it, being an ally, all that stuff matters to helping all of us who are receiving harm. So how many people have heard of the word restorative justice? Okay, and I welcome everybody to tell a little story or add something as I continue to talk. So for people who haven't, restorative justice, think of the word restore, okay, right a wrong, or make right-er a wrong, heal a harm, rekindle, remember. But then you think, has there ever been full justice for everyone in this country? Not really. For African Americans with a history, all Americans with a history of racism, slavery, mass incarceration, as we named before, voting rights that are taken away. There's never been a time when African Americans in this country have had justice. So restorative justice is a little bit of a misnomer. But how can we, maybe we're creating, we're imagining, we're fathoming a new system of justice that works for all of us. Okay. So that means we dare to look at systems, we dare to look at power imbalances that create trauma, that create shame. We work to shift the mentality of greed, even on a small scale. Maybe I don't need that much more. Maybe I can share what I have. Maybe there really is enough to go around. The insider, outsider, the owner, the owned, the mentality we can breed of more abundance and really believing and talking about and sharing the good news that there is enough food, light, love, safety, opportunity, all these things. It's a huge paradigm shift, but we all have a little part in shifting that. Some of us have lost freedom. Some of us have never had it. So we're all on a quest for our own freedom and the freedom of other people. A lot of damage has been done. We've talked about to African-American people, Indigenous people, the gay community, women, religions. We could name many, many different imbalances again, and a lot of payback is deserved. People want their money back. People want their land back. People want their language back. People want their dignity back. Can we give that all back? Can we recognize that there was original language and ways of being? Yeah, it's a big job, but again, it does happen. Another group that I spend some time with is people who are in prison, people who have been incarcerated for a long time. And people especially who have been wrongly convicted. There's about 2,000 people in this country right now who have been wrongly convicted and are serving life sentences or up to life sentences. Some of them get out, very few get out. And when they do, they get no compensation whatsoever for that mistake, for those decades of their lives lost. So that's an example of, yeah, we can change something, but we can't make up for time lost. Women who have endured violence with their partners and left with a lot of scars, with a lot of fears, hopefully some strength and power as well. We can't give back their lives of innocence or their feeling of trust taken, but we can give them restraining orders. We can give them tools to build their lives back up. We can give them some boundaries so that the people who have hurt them are not back in their lives. For incarcerated people, we can look at the conditions and the causes that contributed to their crime: drug and alcohol addiction, mental illness, having underage brains. Many people are in for life because of a crime they committed when they were under 16. So a way to support redemption there would be to vote for drug courts and mental health courts and alternative sentences where people get treatment before they get the punishment, in the possibility that they can redeem themselves. We can vote against life without parole. We can vote for reparations for Indigenous people, for African-American people, on any scale. And we can also apologize for our race, our gender. What else could we apologize for? Our privilege of any kind. Some of us are comfortable doing that. Some of us think, well, I didn't cause directly the harm. Can I really be part of apologizing or making amends? Is that my role? And we all need to assess that for ourselves. Conflict is often not just one event, one person harming, one person being harmed. People in prison have been harmed many, many times before they committed a crime, right? We do polls, the first circle in prison, and 95% of men in prison have witnessed a violent crime before the age of 10 or experienced a violent crime. So as we say, hurt people hurt, right? It's easier to lash out than look in and unravel all the things that led to this desperado moment. But voting to change laws so that people don't get committed to prison when they're underage would be a good resolution. So another way we can do reparations is circles. How many people have participated in a circle dialogue? And that just means you're sitting in a circle, everybody's equal, everybody has equal voice, equal time. If there's been a crime or a harm caused or some community issue, everybody gets equal time. Everybody has one of their or more allies there. So nobody feels ganged up on, us against them. It's all a we. And it can be a very healing process. It might be a one-time session. It might be a series of sessions. But it can really help to get to the underneath what caused the harm and how we might be able to begin to make apology, amends, get to mercy, forgiveness. All of this is a long process, but it's good to check ourselves and see, what are we culpable for? What harms do we feel like we played a part in, either actively or just because of our race, our class, our gender? And what kind of energy do we have to help create something better? It's partly having new eyes. We're always have limited view. We don't see the whole story. But when we get people together and talk about a story or a day that happened or a crime that happened, we get to fill in a lot of holes. And there's a lot of perceptions and projections and biases that play into harm. So it takes a lot to pull it apart. It's much easier to just blame one person, slap on one sentence, and think you're done. We're not done, because people come out of prison and haven't healed and possibly continue to hurt. So we need healing. Doesn't mean too early forgiveness, but it means understanding and trusting that we are all redeemable, right? The story's not over. There's ways to make it more right. Another thing that happens is victim offender dialogues. So this could be one-on-one conversations or letter writing or a Zoom call. If people aren't ready to do it one-on-one with the people that they were involved in the crime with, they can do it with surrogates. So having somebody similar who was had a similar crime done to them, we speak with them and try to apologize, try to understand the harm that happened. Parole hearings, you can show up at somebody's parole hearing. So anyway, many ways to pay back. Rwanda, people remember the Rwanda genocide many years ago. Two tribes which had lived very harmoniously together through the government came to hate each other. And there was just a really horrible genocide. And neighbors killed each other, took each other's everything. And the remedy that they found was to actually have very practical payback. They didn't throw people in prison. They did initially, but then came out. If they were willing to go through this process of apologizing and realizing they were caught up in the same horror as their victims, and they could write contracts together, especially the victim, saying, these are my conditions for letting you in my life, and this is what I need from you. You can't give me back my sanity, my security, my children, my home, but you can be my driver for the rest of my life. You can help me farm for the rest of your life. You can take care of my house for the rest of my life. And people wrote real contracts that are still going today. And it doesn't necessarily mean full emotional forgiveness and freedom from fear, but it might be the way to that. Same with the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. Same thing, hearing the horror and then stepping in and saying, how might we make this a little better? How can we help each other heal? There's many museums now in the country that try to look at horrors and try to help people not run away and hide from it, but face it and find remedies. Holocaust museums, Museum of Tolerance in LA, which is an amazing museum. And ultimately, we're looking to develop some empathy, realizing that we could be on either end of that equation, and we need better ways. Warring is not working. Mass incarceration is not working. How can we get to this fuller understanding and to mercy? How can we be the bigger person, kinder person, teach new ways, give people second chances? There's something called the Forgiveness Project, which is a British website which looks at stories of forgiving and healing all over the world. It's really interesting to look at. And also the Sentencing Project, which helps get people shorter sentences. So I'm going to stop in a couple minutes. I just want to say a couple more things. We can also deal with harm before it happens. So how many people have ever been in public and seen a conflict brewing and you wondered if you should step, like everybody, right? Wonder if you should step in enough or not. We have to feel safe. We have to feel some kind of courage. We have to feel like we can ask for help if this doesn't work. But there's a lot we can do. We can distract, okay? You can see a conflict happening, pretend you know one of the people, go up and say, hey, nice to see you. Sorry, I'm late. Just a little weird distraction. Go up, spill a cup of water. Everybody turns their attention to something else. Just that momentary distraction might alleviate some harm. Delegate, go get somebody to help, get more bystanders. Call not just the police, call the mental health providers, call a neighbor, call a family member, call people in close by that can help to quell the situation, not just for the victim, but for the person offending who's in a crazy moment and needs some assistance. Obviously, we have our cell phones, we can document, but we don't put it up anywhere until we get permission from the people that they want that publicity. And then afterwards to just debrief, to sit with somebody and after it's over and say, wow, that was an intense moment. What happened for you? And, you know, is it gone now? How's your nervous system now? And sit with somebody after a conflict can really help them resolve and understand it so that doesn't happen so readily again. So just some ideas. And as we move into the offertory, I'm just going to let us sit with some of those themes. And when we come back, we're going to do a few practices together. So I will leave you with those thoughts, and the offertory we will have, and Annie will sing a song. Thank you for offering whatever you can for the good work of all souls. And we appreciate any contributions online or in person. Thank you.
Here. I'm willing. I am open and I am willing for to be hopeless. It seems so strange. It dishonors those who go before. So lift me up in the wings of change. There is hurting in my family. There is sorrow in my town. There is pain in our nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. May our children see more clearly. May our elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though it burns our eyes. Give me a mighty oath to hold my confusion. Give me a dance to hold my feet. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder. Give me an ocean to hold my tears. For I am open, and I am willing for to be hopeless, which seems so strange. In this honor, those who've gone before us, so lift me up to the light of day.
Thank you, Annie. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for your offering. Thank you for the song. What I'd like to do now is a little practice on apology and forgiveness. So I'm going to invite everybody, like I often do, into a partner configuration in the room and on Zoom. Frank can put people in pairs if you like. If you'd rather not, you don't have to, but I think we're even enough so that everybody has a partner. And if you just go land next to each other, find your comfortable distance. And I'm just going to give you a few prompts. Sure. Okay, and you can first introduce yourself if you don't know each other. So we're going to go from the big scale of big harm and healing to our personal small scale. And just take the first prompt is, do I know how to say, ouch, that hurt me. Something hurt me. Just ouch. We have this phrase, ouch or oops. Okay, ouch is, how readily can we say, that hurt my feelings? Something you did, something you said, some way you left me out. That hurt my feelings. I'd like a little bit more respect. On the other side, how much can we say, oops, I didn't mean that. I can see I hurt you, but I didn't mean that. Just play with that a little bit. See if there's any examples you can find of saying oops or ouch as a little way into recognizing a little harm, a big harm, and doing something about it. And I'll give you a couple minutes. And I'll just invite you to finish on that prompt and I'll give you one more. So Frank, are the people on Zoom can hear the second prompt? Okay. Okay. As we get ready, there's a beautiful Buddhist prayer of forgiveness, which I just want to read for a moment. And it's a may I prayer. May I forgive myself for harm I have done to others, willingly and unwillingly. May I forgive harm May I forgive others harm done unto me, knowingly or unknowingly. May I forgive myself for harm I have done to myself, knowingly and unknowingly. And may I forgive myself for what I am yet unable to forgive. So many levels, right? We don't give forgiveness full-fledged forgiveness immediately. We work it out and we see what our heart can bear and what we've missed and what we can gain. And is there enough healing to make it worth it? So the second little prompt is in your order of worship, and it's called forgiveness quadrants. We do this in prison, and it's just a good little frame. So each person would speak to those four categories: a time I was forgiven, a time I forgave, a time I'd like to be forgiven, and a time I might offer forgiveness. Okay? Could be any scale. It could be in your personal life, professional life, political life, spiritual life. Just going to give you a few minutes on Zoom and in the room to share your experience in any of those forgiveness quadrants: receiving it, offering it, planning it, asking for it. I'll give you about 5 minutes. It might take a few minutes just for something to arise. We don't get asked this very often. So I imagine there's a lot to share here from our partner shares. And what I'd like to do is move into candles of joy and sorrow. And you also have the option to share a little bit about forgiveness or mercy in your experience, as well as sharing a joy or sorrow. So let's, Annie, do you want to walk the mic around, and we can start on Zoom if anybody has a joy, sorrow, concern to share, or something you'd like to share about forgiveness. I'd love to hear it. And then we'll move into the room. Yep, and unmute your mic, and we can hear you, people on Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Kate. Yep.
Boy. So
Clears the bell.
yesterday we went to a Taino, Taino, Indigenous celebration, and once once the Spanish people discovered Puerto Rico, then basically the Indians got squashed. They got used as food. They got the guys went into a lot of that. And then 500 years past that, 1992, all of a sudden the Tainos had a rebirth of their culture, revisiting. They started their using language again. It's not like they started using language. They they worked it up. Anyway, so it was wonderful to see an Indigenous culture growing, thriving, working to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, candle for the Taino culture, Indigenous.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. Anyone else on Zoom?
So just to follow up, thanks for those who've asked about how our cat's doing. I mentioned last week we were actually at the veterinary emergency hospital. He is back there. We spent yesterday there bringing him back because he had a recurrence of symptoms after seeming to do better, and he's having a lot of tests run. So he's there for a couple of days. So it's a bit lonely around here. And hopefully he'll be okay.
Okay. Thank you. So healing happening, little loneliness at home. Thank you, Gary. Anyone in the room like to share? Russ, please. Thank you. Mike is coming. Mike is coming. Thank you, Dan. Well, I think so. Yep.
Okay, my name's Russ. First, Joy, yesterday when I came to the church to adjust the thermostat of the sanctuary because of the time change, my brain, I just could not wrap my brain around exactly what I needed to do in order to do this. Okay, we're moving forward. What do I need to do? And there's a new thermostat. And I called Rocky, who's on the property committee with me, and he calmed me down and said, just do this. And he was absolutely right. Time is right, and heat is right. Second, Joy. I submitted a story to the recorder about some local history called How the General Pierce Bridge Got Its Name. I like it. I don't love it, but I do like it. And I'm hoping it'll be in the paper soon. It's really interesting.
Okay.
And lastly, the conversation that Nancy and I had about forgiveness.
Mm.
We had a personal thing to work out that I didn't even realize.
Mhm.
And this gave us an opportunity to do it. And I certainly feel better about it. And I hope she does too. Yeah. So,
Oh, good.
yes.
Good, good. Yeah, the knowingly, unknowingly. There's a lot that we're not fully aware of, but we can help each other. Thank you.
So I'm Pam, and I want to have a candle lit for joy for Annie Hassel,
No.
who spent 2 days under my sink trying to figure out how to stop the darn thing from leaking. Thank you, Annie, and all folks who are helping other people and so many.
Thank you to all the helping out in the world. Little things go a long way, eh? Yes.
I'd like us to light a candle for the people of Bakhmut, Ukraine, 70,000 people who've been displaced, and half the city now has been retaken by Russia on the other side of the river.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter. My grandfather came from the Ukraine, so I'm very tied into all that. I've been very, very badly hurt yesterday. Probably one of the worst days I've had probably in my life. I'm a very dear friend of Kate Hastings, and Kate said, come stay at the house. So I left a very hurtful, unworkable situation, and life has already blessed me by such a nice accommodation. Betsy was my roommate last night, and today the sky, when I noticed it, did not have a cloud in it. So I've received 3 nice blessings by stepping in or falling in to a supportive environment. So I light the candle, not for the sorrow, but for the joy.
Thank you. And talk about having your eyes open and your heart still open. You got hurt, but it didn't close. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin. I live at the Arbors, which is a fancy place. I never anticipated winding up in a place like that, but my family won't let me live alone any longer. And it's like a high school, you know, there's folk from various backgrounds and ages, etc. I was really having a great time here. But recently, there are a few little cloudy, unpleasant spots. And I thought of this saying that I heard: you can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time. You can't fool all of the people all of the time. So I'm figuring, there are folks that you're going to become friends and, close with. There are others who want nothing to do with you. But here you are, and you're enjoying those wonderful friendships and companionships that you've made. And Sandra told me, it got me to that point, telling me about a book by Byron Katie on that very subject.
Thank you. Looking for the good, appreciating what is, not ignoring the negative, but riding over. I think somebody on Zoom, Frank. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
So I'm Frank. I got a sorrow. Aria, the violinist that comes and plays here sometimes, she's leaving the row camp community. Thankfully, she's not moving too far away, but everyone up there is bummed. Candle of joy because she's going and doing new things and hopefully finding her proper path. And another candle of joy, every hurt test that has been given to me thus far has turned out to be nominal. They did find weird little things, but not anything that's like, oh no. So I'm very happy about that the ticker is working properly.
Yes. Thank our lucky stars for our beating hearts, huh? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, one more on Zoom and then we'll get to Rob.
Hi, this is Tom Sullivan. I like to light a candle of joy with quite a tinge of sadness. Yesterday, my daughter-in-law and my son had a wonderful gathering in Florence at the Bombyx Theater. Used to be a church across from the statue of Sojourner Truth. It was a day to raise awareness around the number of people who have died of COVID. My son's wife, my daughter-in-law, her mother died in 2020. Anyway, it was a great thing. About 40 people attended, including Senator Jim McGovern, who brought a big, beautiful piece of paper that was signed by Maura Healey, commemorating this day, March 6th, as a day that we'll remember all the people who have died in COVID, from COVID, in the US, in the world, and in the state.
Every year.
Every year. So it's a great achievement.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi,
Rob.
good morning, I'm Rob. Annie, would you please light a candle of real sadness for my friend Peter Jessup, who has just had so many hard physical and emotional things, including a stroke, divorce, and now most recently fell and fractured his hip. Somehow, with all that, just like that candle, there's a part of him that's still burning brightly, so pray that part stays strong. And a candle of joy for the power of music, which you certainly exemplified, Annie, but I'm thinking also of this Friday at that very same Bombyx Theater, for the first time, I think, since COVID, Ronnie Arbo and Daisy Mayhem, a very beloved band from this area, performed, and it was really so touching just to see the camaraderie and the creativity of all the people in the band and the deep sense of community, people singing along in the audience.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And Annie?
Let me see, I'll have to done the candles here. Have to. So joy and sorrow together, an interesting thing. I have two friends, John Preston, a lot of us know him and love him. He graduated is what we would say, 2 days ago. So I'm holding Mary Ellen Preston in my heart because she loved him so much. They're a great couple. And also my good friend Karen Copeland's mother, who she's been taking care of for 5 years, a woman that 104 only saw good, only felt love, and only said good. Her whole life, she made it to 104. So again, celebration of life. We're sad she's going. She's on her way back home. And then just a quick little sorrow. I was in the Big Y parking lot, came out and saw a little old lady with glasses on, and she was trying to find her car or something. I was listening for her language, and I said, is that Italian? And I walked up close to her, and she said, I'm half Russian, half Ukraine. And I put my hand on my heart. I said, I'm so sorry. And I went up, I said, may I hug you? And I hugged her, and we cried together. And she said, it'll get better. Thank you, woman. And I cried all the way home. So when I think about those people, our human family,
Yes.
and whatever we can do, each one by one, our own thoughts, actions of reparation. The other thing I want to say as far as reparation, one more candle, so I'll light one. I didn't know what that woman's name was, but here we go. She'll know. And the other one I want to light is talking about reparation. I have a friend that's a Black woman, and I saw her the other day, and I said, hey, I'm going to be singing at church. Is there anything that you would like me to say about mercy and reparation? And she said, we want our money back, all of it, back to 1619, she said. I went, okay. And then anything else? And she said, look up Black inventors, the doorknob, the wrench, and this. Oh, I never knew. My ignorance, was it because I was white, or I didn't like that part of the book, or to tell you the truth, that probably wasn't in the book. That's the problem. We're not in the book. So I'm going to light a candle for her. The people that want their money back, Native Americans just say party like it's 1491. They want their land back, and their language and their way of being. So I'm going to light a candle for them too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Annie. And we always light one last candle for all the joys and sorrows that are too tender to speak, but still live in our hearts. Light a last candle. And for all people everywhere on either side of harm and healing, includes all of us, breaking hearts and healing hearts, and finding each our own ways to contribute to reparations of all kinds is our work. So our benediction today is the St. Francis prayer. And for people who know it, you can speak it with me. It's written in your order of service. The first word is Lord. If you relate to that, you're welcome to say that. You can say God, universe, universal heart, whatever your frame is for universal spirit. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Thank you. And our postlude, I think most of us know, very deep in our heart, the song Imagine, John Lennon.
Join along. And there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. Oh, help me, Lord. Of our soaring sky. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. Nothing to kill or die for. No religions too. And no religions too. Imagine all the people. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer. Oh, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. Food in every hand. Food in every hand. Imagine all the people. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Yay. Thank you, Annie. Let's keep imagining, dreaming. Thank you for being here. Coffee hour is here. Thank you, Pam, for setting up. Any announcements? Last minute announcements of any kind?
Would anybody like to be the reader in the entryway for next Sunday? Wow, it's you.
We'll all be here greeting each other. Oh, thank you, Dan. Dan volunteers. Thank you. Anything else? Pam?
Yes, I have information on a new movie called the Mini Forest.
Okay.
Brought one sheet of paper. And I'll have it at the coffee room. And also this week, on the 14th, there's a seed swap.
Mm.
Just fruits. You want to plant a garden? Come and trade seeds, get seeds.
Nice.
free,
Okay.
etc.
Just Roots, Tuesday, the 14th, is it? Or? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for being part of the service. Thank your partner for hearing you. Maybe you'll meet again and see you at coffee hour. Peter. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, Zoomers.
What's needed subject?
Yeah.
Good to see you all. I'll be back in a couple days.
I'm gonna save on postage, and I'm gonna give you your check a week in advance.
Yay, Dan.
Do be aware it's future dated.
Oh, wait, yeah. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.